Welcome to Sonderlings, integrating Troika system. Let the bioride begin.
Hello, and welcome to Sonderlings. We are a collective of creators dedicated to exploring storytelling and world building within the framework of indie and OSR tabletop games. Usually RPGs, but we rabbit trail a lot and just go off and do whatever we want. Introduction time. I'm Danny. I'm a maker, creator, nerd, weird dude. You can find me on Instagram, right down there. My name is Stuff I Kinda Care About. You can also find me on YouTube under the same name, and I'm on Twitter at Stuff I Kinda Care because they wouldn't give me enough characters to add the about. I've been playing RPGs for a little over 10 years, but for the last several have mostly been shifting into a development and games master role. I guess I'm technically an indie game developer. I've poorly published a game, and I've worked on several more that haven't seen the light of day yet. And other than that, I just work on a lot of weird stuff and like to make things. My latest is lamps. I'm obsessed with making lamps. Other than that, I have a bunch of gorgeous people with me. You probably care more about them than you do about me. So we're going to kick it off with the person in the window just above me, and that's Carly.
Hey, I am Carly. So I am a bit of a maker, kind of casually. I do paint, I do some leatherworking, I do some woodworking, some furniture restoration. I am also a giant rock hound, meaning that I collect minerals and crystals. I also go out and mine with them with DB, who's also playing with us today. So that's something that I'm sure that I will delve into a little bit. I'm also a huge fan of plants. I'm definitely a plant mama. I'm sure you'll see a little bit of that come into play as well. Besides that, when it comes to gaming, I have definitely been playing RPGs for quite some time. D&D specifically for a little over 7 years now, I guess. 3.5, 3rd edition, 5th edition. And I've also played Dungeon World for a few years now as well. Dabbled in some stuff like Overlight. This will be, kind of my first time expanding beyond some of those basic ones, and I'm pretty excited to see how that goes. But I'm definitely inspired by games like Fallout, BioShock, Elder Scrolls, those kind of things, like thematically a lot as well. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Fantastic. We're going to move around the grid. DB, you're up next.
Hey everybody, DB here. I love RPGs. Been playing D&D like 15 years, 16 years. I'm really big into video games. I've got I know it's impressive, right?
It's a long time.
It is a long time. It's just so good. Been a fan of 3rd edition, 3.5, 5th edition. Didn't really play 4th or Pathfinder. Anyway, I love video games. I love competitive stuff. So StarCraft 2. I played a lot of Diablo 2. Play League of Legends. I play Magic the Gathering. So I kind of go deep instead of wide. I've played a lot of other stuff, but those are my bread and butter. That's what I stick with. That's what I love. I'm really excited about Troika because it's such an odd and weird landscape to work in. It's not the typical, oh, we're in a pseudo Lord of the Rings landscape. This is, much more Adventure Time or wild fantasy. So I'm very excited about it. Also, I like these people. They're pretty good.
Heck yes. Jacob, you're last and not least. Bring it on.
Oh, come on. I'm Jacob. I do a lot of concept art and writing for Sonderlings. I, unlike these other beautiful people, am a complete RPG noob. I've done like a few hours in the last few months, but never actually a full campaign. But I am a huge fantasy nerd. I've been writing fantasy and dabbling in world building my whole life. So I've got that going for me. Let's see. I'm a maker too. I do some of what all of these people do. Like I do some woodworking, I do some rock hounding. It's jack of all trades, master of none, like most makers, I guess. And I am a family man. My wife's name is Katie, and we've got two beautiful babies. My 5-year-old, whose name is Goblin Boy, and my 2-year-old, whose name is Gremlin Girl. And they're going to grow up to be beautiful people. But yeah, that's
If
pretty much
only
it.
you were playing a gremlin catcher. If
Yeah.
only. Maybe one
That
day.
would be amazing. Oh, awesome. So we're starting with Troika, as we've talked about. Quick note on that. Troika is a tabletop RPG that takes place in uncounted spheres littered across the humpbacked sky. In this world, you'll see shocking blends of science and magic, the two woven or sometimes crushed together, with often unpredictable results. I wish I could tell you more about it, but we actually don't know a ton about Troika. None of us have really played it. We're brand new to it, and we're going to be exploring it with you. So you get to find out basically as much as we know about it with us along the way. It's a rules-light, more narrative-driven system. Thus far, I'm really excited about it, and if you want to get excited about it and learn more about it, you can head over to melsonia.com. Quick note, we are not sponsored or anything by Melsonia. I'd love to be, but we're not. We just really like the product, and we believe in it, and they're really amazing. They produce a lot of really cool content, a lot of different source books for Troika, and a bunch of other stuff. So you should absolutely check them out and support some independent publishers. Like I said, I'm Danny. I'll be your games master while we play Troika. So basically, I'm going to be making a lot of stuff up on the fly and improvising. We're just going to jump in and do some narrative storytelling and all of that stuff. We already rolled up characters. I'm going to give everybody a chance to introduce their characters in a moment. They don't know I'm doing this to them. We've rehearsed our opening. They think it's going a different way, but it's going this way now. So, here we are. You are at the Versity. The Versity is located in the city of Troika, and this school, university, whatever you want to call it, stretches toward the horizon, its tangled structures fighting for prominence. A slew of various building materials adorn additions, a visual catalog of the architectural fashions of days gone by. Boardwalks and rope bridges lace between the countless spires that reach for the spheres, and in the midst of it all squats the resplendent Listinatorium, its hulking halls and chambers a testament to the Versity's longevity. Deep within this ancient building lie the offices of Listener Nalthus. Relatively new to their position as head listener, Nalthus has reinvigorated this venerable institution's drive to explore the entirety of the spheres and humpbacked sky. There are rumors throughout the student body of expeditions forming to probe the unknown corners of the verse, and the three of you have been summoned to meet with the head listener this afternoon. So, the three of you see this beautiful sight in front of you. You've all been at the Versity for a while. This isn't like a new site. You've seen it a good bit. You've probably never been to the head listener's office, but you're here. You're about to go up there. And so at this point, I'd like to know who you are. We're starting with Carly. Carly, you want to tell us your background, a little bit about your character, and, just give us a feel for what's going on.
Yeah, so I am playing a befouler of ponds. So my name is Quitharp Pith, also known as Quiff for short. I am basically a priestess from a marshy swampland-like locale. I'm dressed in sackcloth robes that are interwoven with like reeds and mud and basically some underbrush. It's also quite smelly. That is in the description of the item. So
Fantastic.
I have a stagnant odor surrounding me at all times. I also have a bit of a complex headdress that's made also of what looks to be like some sort of kind of plant life mixed with material, like scrap-like material. And when you take a closer look at first glance from a distance, you may not immediately notice it, but within that lives a large toad that I carry with me at all times. My character is a pond pisser by nature, and I worship the toad god, a bloated toad god by the name of Papa Sherp. So we'll get into that, I'm sure, through gameplay. But she's a bit of a sweet Southern belle. She presents as maybe a bit more naive than she truly is. At heart, she is very excited about intellectual pursuits, specifically in mycology. She loves those fungi as being, a bit of a swamp dweller. As well as the culinary arts. Unfortunately, her homeland's cuisine is not so appreciated.
That's a damn shame.
I was trying to shoehorn a fun guy joke in there, and I just couldn't. I couldn't catch it.
I'm sure we'll get there.
I'm so glad you didn't do that. Moving on, DB. Background, a little bit about your character.
So I got a Chaos Champion, and I named him Vigor. Vigor Sorensen, and he is a bit of a marauder type character. So he has a huge maul he wields with two hands. It is made of steel, and it's got, it's well used, right? It's got leather grip that's comfortable in his hand. The head of it is very large. It looks like it could just smash just about anything. He wears an assortment of, he's got kind of like the bandolier strap. He's got a shoulder, like a shoulder plate over here. He's got bits of rags. His trousers have holes all in them. He's got two big muddy boots.
They're just kind perpetually muddy.
Yeah, I mean, he's
always into
dirty.
something.
He's got priorities, but his hygiene isn't one of them. He's a champion of chaos, and so he loves a good twist of fate. And he likes to, if it's stagnant water, if it's too still, if it's too quiet, that's a problem for him, and he'll fix that. Hence the hammer.
My son's the same way.
Yeah, and so he's found himself at the university through fortune or misfortune, one way or another. But he's not cruel. He's a little mischievous. He's a little delightful, and he's also a little violent. So he's a little bit of a blend.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So his chaos god is a giant squid in the humpback sky, one of the small handful of squids in the humpback sky, whose terrible cyclopean eye is said to wither a man, and destroy entire spheres if it so wished. But he's left that life momentarily to be here.
That's no moon. That's the giant cyclopean eye of a squid.
Yeah.
Okay. Jacob, it's your turn to talk.
That was only the first Star Wars joke I'm going to make. I just want everybody to be able to keep it on their mind that this is also like a sci-fi fantasy type thing.
Yeah.
I rolled
science fantasy.
Yeah. I rolled a zoanthrope. Is it zoanthrope or zoanthrope? Zoanthrope?
I think it's zoanthrope, but I think it's a matter of whatever you want to say it. I'm not sure there are rules to this kind of thing.
Carly went bold with how to pronounce the name of her god.
That's true.
You should just go bold
and
with a simple word like zoanthrope or throp.
Listen, I refuse to say PP repeatedly, okay? Which is basically the other main pronunciation of my god's name in the book. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no.
All right, so I'm a zoanthropy. No, I'm a zoanthrope. That's basically the character from Troika who has a big chunk of their brain removed.
Okay.
I am very curious and predisposed to thievery and manipulation. I have a pair of fluffy socks that I love. I also love fancy clothes. And because I'm not quite all there, because part of my brain is removed, I'm kind of like people like to give me things and stuff because I wear weird. I'll just wear whatever people give me. So I'm usually dressed in like this outlandish outfit that I'm very proud of. And I have my giant fluffy socks that I'm super proud of. I actually take them off and put them in my teeth if I'm worried about getting them dirty.
Okay.
I'm very strong, but I'm not very violent. Like I prefer to jump around and get out of the way, or like try to kind of animalistic charm my way out of dangerous situations. But that's pretty much it. Where I was the zoanthropic surgery was not my choice.
Okay.
Is another part of it. So
Wow.
yeah.
That is heavy. All right. I'm sure we're going to get into that later. Thank you for leaving us with that great little cliffhanger. So the three of you are, I'm just going to take the narrative lead at this moment and say that you're making your way through the squat chambers of the listinatorium, and you're headed towards the offices of Listener Nalthus. As you enter the head listener's office, you see they've got a giant wooden desk. You're not sure exactly what type of wood it is, but this beautiful ornate wooden desk, and behind them there's a big banner that reads "Sed Porcos Neolor," and Listener Nalthus is sitting behind this desk and just kind of nods at you as you come in and gestures to the three chairs conveniently placed in front of their desk. You gonna sit? What are we gonna do?
Well, one, I would like to ask if we would. I assume we would know what the translation of that phrase means. That was on the sign.
I mean, maybe you would. I know that all three of you personally know what the translation of that phrase is.
I just want to hear you say it, Danny.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. So you would know what that phrase is. Something to do with swans and swine. You know.
Well,
Something
so
to that
I step forth, and I brush my hand against the table, admiring the fine grain of the wood as I find my seat, sit comfortably, doing my best to not muck up too much of the furniture. I'm a bit gross. I've got some underbrush in my clothing. I trail a bit of mud.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be respectful.
Absolutely, and
This
like this is something that they would understand.
I mean,
all of it
I'm a
bit
student.
too
They know, right?
nice for Vigor. So he's got the sides of his head shaved, and he's got a long mohawk that he just leaves down to the side, and it's started to he's fashioned it into loose braids, and it started to dread at points. So he's twirling one of those long dreads between his fingers, and he had his giant maul on his shoulders. He lets it just drop onto the tile real hard. Clang fills the chamber, and he drags it screeching across the floor before he sits, plops back into his chair, and he hoists the hammerhead onto the desk, and he lets it lean up against the desk as he kicks his dirty boots onto the desk as well, and he sucks at his teeth, and he pulls at his beard, and he gives the headmaster a real look up and down.
Well, I'm not quite sure why you decided to enter like that. That's a little rude. But I mean, welcome to my office that you're just actively trying to dirty up and destroy.
So I just peek around the corner, like from ground level, like I'm obviously on all fours.
Yeah.
And then I see how dirty the floor is. I stand up, I take my socks off and put them in my teeth and walk in and sit down in the chair.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Now that you're all here, look, I know you've heard the rumors. Yes, we are interested in exploring the uncounted spheres and the crazy parts of the humpbacked sky. So essentially, if the three of you graduate, which I know, your graduation soon, hopefully you're going to pass all of your classes. But if the three of you graduate, I'd like you to comprise. I did not think about this voice before I started doing it. I'd like the three of you to comprise a research team going out and exploring the unexplored and unknown parts of the verse. Does that sound like something that you might be interested in?
I tilt my head over and I look at Quiff.
Oh, I got my paws on my legs, and I am already starting to stand up. And with a big grin on my face, I say, "Well, moisten my toad. I thought I was going to come in here and get in some sort of trouble. Of course, it would be my pleasure. I would love to start adventuring more. I've been in these hallways for far too long. I thought my kind would be a bit more understood here, but unfortunately, too many of these students just don't have the taste that I thought they would." And I pull my ladle out from my hip and give it a small lick. You notice that it is covered in a bit of mud.
That's appropriate.
I just want to say that moisten my toad is now officially 100% of my vocabulary for the rest of my life.
I was not prepared for that at all.
Gotta keep her damp,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see that you're enthusiastic about this job. What about you, Vigor?
Sucking my teeth a bit. Well, I suppose I could be interested. Get out of these halls. I kick my feet off the desk and I stand, straightening my thing. What do we get for it?
You'll get a research vessel and you'll have the ability to explore the verse, find untold wonders, and of course, if you happen to find unclaimed riches, you might be able to keep them. Most of them, some of them.
Look at him. What's on his desk? Is there a paperweight?
There are multiple exquisitely crafted paperweights. Obviously, all of varying sentimental value.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it. I look at the dean. I look back at that. That's what I want. Right there. And I put my fingertip right on the top of a nice polished paperweight. I don't want your vessel, and I don't want these riches. I want this.
Well, you can't explore without a vessel, right?
Can I lean forward and say, what do your socks look like?
Oh, good. This is
Can I see your
great.
socks?
I should have known it was going to go this way.
Fine question. A very fine question. What do your socks look like?
Yeah. Sub-listener, can you come in here really quick? And you see,
He's skirting the question.
essentially a secretary, scurry in, and he leans over, and you just hear him, cup his hand to the secretary's ear, and all you hear is just, mumbling into the secretary's ear. And then the secretary leaves, and he turns, and he's like, all right, Vigor, Yeah, I mean, here. And he just, like, picks up the paperweight and looks at you real weird and just hands it to you. And it's like, yeah, you can have that if you
I
graduate.
smile. A wide.
If you graduate and if you take the job.
Well, I smile, a wide, toothy grin. You can see that I've got half of my natural teeth, and the other is filled with gold teeth, silver teeth, and a few gem teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And I smile wide. It is a deal, then. And I reach out my hand
And
to shake his.
he shakes your hand, but he pulls the paperweight back. I'm just going to hold on to this. Once you've graduated and I've got you on that vessel and you're going to explore, you can have it. But
Can
not a
he
moment
feel
before.
me like? Can he feel me like pulling up his pant leg right
Yes.
now?
Yeah. And he looks
Okay.
down.
Perfect.
Nimbus.
And I'm like on all fours
Nimbus?
down there, like
Nimbus.
I
These
get
are
back in
my
my chair.
socks. Not yours. Mine.
I lean on the table a bit as I look down at Nimbus, who I assume is still on the floor someplace. And
Somewhere on the floor.
yeah, it's on the floor. And I say, "Oh, Nimby, you know how many socks there are out there when we go adventuring across the universe? Imagine the glory, all the styles you'll encounter. Oh goodness, and all the other things we could see: new fungi, new people to preach the old toad god sermons to. I can't even stop thinking about it." And I glance down at my Chaos Champion companion, Vigor, with a bit of a confused expression, and I go, what do you think about that? Are you willing to go on the adventure if you get the snow globe at the end of it?
Of course, if I get his globe, then I'll go. I've always liked your intuition, Quiff. You're a dreamer, I say.
All right. Well, this is fun. This is great. Yeah. This isn't going how I thought it would. And as he says that, the door behind him bursts open, and you can see an incredibly disheveled and out-of-breath sub-listener come into the room with a box, and just kind of like genuflects and hands the box to the head listener, and then backs out of the room and closes the doors. And the head listener takes the box and like peeks inside, and then looks down at Nimbus and goes, "Nimbus, your payment." And
okay, so I like take the box very carefully,
yes,
like very carefully,
and it's basically just like one of those old school like shoe boxes with the lid that just
Okay.
pops off, not the new folding ones.
Okay.
And as you like very, very slowly and suspiciously open the lid, you know those like Sherpa fabric winter booties that have like the
Oh,
grippy
yeah.
stuff on the bottom but are like super poofy knitted, like
Yes.
yeah, they're basically like sock versions of Ugg boots.
Yes.
Yes. There are 4 pairs in various exceedingly offensively neon and bright color patterns.
Yes.
Um,
So I like, as soon as I see them, I just close the box and stick the whole big box like up my shirt, and then sit down like super calmly.
I assume
Okay.
that means that you're ready to do the job.
Yes.
Brilliant. Fantastic. So now that I have all of you on board, I need to know, I know each one of you has a couple of exams left. I need to know which exams each of you have left to see if we can kind of coordinate your schedules to get those knocked out as quick as possible. So Vigor, what exams do you still have? And mechanically, just give me like 2 or 3 classes.
So one of them I have left is the old fight and flight, combat, aerial maneuvers. The other one I have is rock and roll, where you have to roll those big rocks at strength training, of course. And the last one, which I always dread, is bookbinding, where those possessed books that float around must be bound back to the ground. You have to cast your spell to bind it to the shelf so it doesn't flutter off and get lost. I cannot stand that one.
No, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I hated that class when I was in school here. It was just the worst.
Books you like never stick around.
Yeah.
They're always the quickest.
I know. The ones
And
you
the books
want
you
to
hate?
read, they're gone. And then the ones that you hate or that hate you, well, they just come right for your face. And that's the moneymaker.
A good book flies by, they say. Flies right on by.
So I need 2 or 3 classes from Nimbus as well, and from Quiff. So, in whichever order you would like to give me the classes, preferably.
Oh, I just like shrug and
in
study my nails,
character.
and I'm like, no exams. And I'm like just looking off, and I smile and tap the big scar on my forehead.
The forebrain removal. That's fantastic.
No brain, no exams.
So I've been a bit
And I
shy.
shrug.
I've been a bit shy, and I kind of softly mumble. Well, I'm not too worried about my advanced culinary arts course. I have been studying up for that one, and I think I've learned from last year's issues. And I kind of swivel my foot a little bit, realizing that I'm unintentionally kind of rubbing mud into the carpet as a nervous tick, and I say, but I've also got that darn curses class, and not exactly sure I'm fully prepared for that.
Yeah, I mean, Curses is also an incredibly difficult class. But aren't all 3 of you in the bookbinding class together?
I've never gone, except the once. So I couldn't tell you really who's there. But I did go one time.
I mean, it says here on this manifest that all 3 of you are enlisted in the class. So you're
Go?
you're
You-
supposed to be going. And the finals,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
in an hour.
I do have that bookbinding one. I just thought you meant the ones I still have lined up for the rest of the week. I assumed if you were calling me into this meeting that you knew I had to be out of here by a certain time.
Yeah. Well,
I just like wide-eyed and nodding. I say, me too.
Nimbus and I have been catching birds, not books. They're much quicker.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. You're all doing very well in every course except for bookbinding. And let's be honest, Curses, while we say it's mandatory, just surviving it is mandatory. You don't really have, like, the final exam is just like, hooray, you live through the class. Can we talk about how much I hate this voice? Oh my God.
I feel like we're
I
gonna
love
see the
it.
dean just this one time.
I know,
Yeah.
you're never going to
He's
meet
gonna
him
die.
again.
He died.
This is
And
just
he
saying.
died.
Maybe he has a cold right now, and next time we go into his office, he won't have the cold anymore.
Yeah.
And said it's really high
give me
pitched.
give me a second. Give me a second. And you see him just like drink this elixir and oh, that's so much better. No, I put myself in this position. I have to finish it.
Hawks up a loogie like the size of a baseball. Oh, that's better.
So I'm gonna go ahead and kick all 3 of you out of here. You got to get to this final for bookbinding. And I hope you pass, because if you don't, I'm gonna have to give this offer to somebody else. Yeah, good luck. Don't make me regret this decision, please.
Big
Take a
thumbs
deep
up from
breath at
Nimbus.
Yeah. I stare at the Paperweight as I scratch my chin. I don't need luck. I've got this as I pull up my big hammer, sling it across my shoulder. I whistle as I leave the dean's office.
Awesome.
I'm just like watching you walk out, and I'm like, for bookbinding?
So what's up?
I was gonna say, as we're lagging behind, like as I want to lag behind a little bit with our friend Nimbus, who I imagine is, still trying to figure out that bookbinding course he doesn't entirely remember having signed up for, it seems like. And I turn to him and I say, well, when I signed up for bookbinding, I thought it was a class called book buying that was going to teach me how to bargain my way down on some more knowledge in the future. I didn't realize I was going to have to pass some exam on how to bind a book to adventure across the universe. I let out a big sigh and kind of glance ahead at our Chaos Champion pal. I think to myself, I hope he's got something slick up his sleeve. Not entirely sure I'm prepared for this exam.
I just still look mildly in shock, and I'm like, I don't remember it at all. I remember nothing about this class.
That does seem to be a common problem for you these days, but I'm sure it'll come back to you.
Brilliant. So, here's what's going to happen. The three of you have to pass your bookbinding final. And fun fact, the class is how DB described it. So you're going to have to go in and you're going to have to bind some books. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a group exercise. And there's several different books that you're going to have to go after. Each set more dastardly and ridiculous than the last. The first you're going for is Warwith's War Omnibus in 3 volumes. And these books have a propensity of sneaking out at night into the kitchens on the grounds of the Versity and stealing the cooking knives and pots and pan lids and then hiding them in their pages, so that when people try to put them back on the shelves, they actually pop out shields and swords. And sometimes they even steal fondue forks to use as lances.
Nice.
Yeah. And so these books also are about 3 feet tall, each of them.
Okay.
Yeah. They are...
Oh, I see what's about to happen.
Omnibus.
I just caught up. Okay.
Yeah, so this is gonna be combat. Yay!
Okay. Okay.
So I'm getting the initiative stack together, and as I do that, I think it's an appropriate moment to go ahead and explain how initiative works in Troika. This seems like a good point to do that, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Full disclosure, I did not know that we were about to do combat because I didn't prep what's happening for this beyond you all making up classes and then telling me what classes you were taking. So
I didn't know that was the purpose of that exercise. I would have been so hard on you. Sorry.
All right.
Like,
Nimbus?
no exams.
Yeah,
So good. Just
no,
being
that's cool. I love when you don't talk on a podcast. That makes great recording material. Let me tell you.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out the zoanthrope thing.
Yeah, it's real hard.
Kind of weird.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Initiative is comprised of a stack. You can use cards, you can use tokens, you can use whatever you want. You can do a bunch of different tokens in a bag and shake it all up. I'm using playing cards. The jacks are going to represent Jacob. The kings are going to represent DB. And the queens are going to represent Carly. Well, sorry, Nimbus, Vigor, and Quiff. I need to get better about that. The ace is going to be the end of round token. And then I've got just normal number cards, 2 for each one of the books. all of that is going to get shuffled together. And we're just going to draw cards, and whichever one shows up, that's the order that initiative goes in. So you could get the end of round token after only 2 people have gone, and like it was just enemies and the players didn't even get to go. Or you could get the end of round token after the players all get all of their turns and none of the enemies get to go. It's a really interesting way that Troika does initiative, and I'm kind of in love with it because it takes a lot of randomness and chance and adds it to the mix. These events are all kind of supposed to be happening concurrently in combat. You can do different things like delay your order in the initiative stack. There are certain things with ranged weapons where you can aim and do stuff. We'll get into that later on. Right now, we're just going to play this at its base. That being said, we're going up against Warwith's War Omnibus in 3 volumes.
Hey,
And
since we're
yes.
supposed to be binding these books, can
Yes.
we use weapons? Like, I've got a knife, but I feel like that would not be binding a book. That would be destroying a book.
So you can declare that you're using your knife to like disarm the book.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. And these books, like their covers are very like armor plated. So you could just beat up this book. So you've entered the bookbinding class. The listeners that are basically like proctoring this exam are all opposite you, and you'd expect like anybody that hears bookbinding class from a normal world would expect a row of tables with supplies to make your own books. No. This is like a sand floor arena. Like it is clear that you're not actually like making a journal. You're going to be physically competing with books in some way, shape, or form. So big arena. Professors or the listeners are on the other side, and they have a series of cages. And inside the cages, there's 3. You can see one of each of the volumes of this War Omnibus. There is, on the other side of the arena, a series of 3 boxes. And this arena is only probably like 15
Hey, can the arena
meters across.
can the arena be called the Thunder Tome?
Yes. Yeah, that's canon
Yes.
now.
Yes.
It's called the Thunder
Yes,
Tome.
it can.
Yeah,
So good.
that's fantastic. So, yeah, welcome to Thunder Tome. That's it. Podcast's over. We've made the best joke now. After moistening your toad and Thunder Tome, that's it. So yeah, basically your goal is going to be to take these books, get them in their respective cases. Each of the cases is labeled as well, so you have to get the correct book into the correct case. There are 3 of you, 3 books. As soon as you step in, you hear a shrill whistle blow, and the cages are all opened up as the listeners scurry for cover. And these books, if a book can saunter menacingly, these 3 are doing it. Yeah, they're only like 3 feet tall, but they look badass. And they're clearly like in formation, like maneuvering themselves to get at all of you. And you all kind of start to close the distance, so we're going to begin everything where you're within, like a quick move and you can get to each other. So, first up is one of these delightful books. And we're going to say Volume 1 has its chance first as I move my D&D dice out of my dice tray and move my D6s into my dice tray because Danny was prepared. All right, so this one is just weighing options. It sees Quiff as probably the easiest one to like attack, and so it's
Is it
just
the frog on my head? Is it the frog? Is that why?
it's
Easy target.
It's the fact that one has a giant warhammer, one looks like an animal and has a knife, and you've got a spoon.
It's the smell. I know
It's
the
the
smell.
So this is going to happen, and while this happens, we're going to go ahead and kind of explain what's happening at this point. So this is going to be a role versus situation. It is initiating attack against you. So both parties are going to roll 2d6. You're going to apply any applicable bonuses. So for me as a monster, it's just going to be my skill because I don't actually have advanced skills. For the player, it's going to be the roll plus your skill plus your advanced skill if you've got one that you can apply to this. And then the winner is going to be able to do damage. With ties and failures and all that stuff, there's other rules that we can get into. And we don't actually, like, heads up to anybody listening out there, we don't really know what we're doing. So there may be a point where we're like, we'll be right back. We have to look up rules. So just wait for that cut in the edit.
Well, I'm also sure we'll have times where it's literally just a matter of we'll have to look this up retrospectively. I mean, I feel like the entire nature of a game like Troika is to be a game that is rules light so that it can help with narrating. So there'll be random times where you just have to make table calls, you know. Fine with that. So I don't think that I have an applicable...
Us if we get it wrong.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair, right? Come on, guys.
Yeah, please. Just love us.
But, so I don't think I really have an applicable skill.
You don't have any
besides,
fighting skills?
No, I have... Okay, so I have as my base skills, or my advanced skills, second sight, sneak, and swim. And while I'm sure that I could see that this thing is coming at me, I also would have just physically seen it. So second sight isn't going to do me any good. I don't have any like fighting related ones, but I do have spells. So I have ways to respond probably.
Okay. So we're
probably just the base.
We're gonna do a straight up skill test. So roll 2d6
plus my skill.
Add them up.
Okay, so I got 8, and I have a base skill of 5, so it's 13.
Okay, I rolled a 4, and I have a base skill of 6. So you actually beat me. Which means...
I'm slippery.
You do damage as unarmed. So roll 1d6 for me.
Okay.
And then I've got the table right here.
All right. I got a 6.
Wow. You're...
And by I mean my frog is angry.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Offended.
Quiff just absolutely did 3 damage to this book. And it's not like...
The frog smacks it with its tongue.
Yeah, and think less of, like, permanent damage and more of, like, you're trying to render them unconscious so that you can actually, like, bind them.
Okay.
For that one, that's fantastic. Let's see who's next in the initiative stack. That's the end of the round.
Wow.
That was so much fun.
The rest of us are just so freaked out by the fact that one book just charged
This
me.
one book just, like, sprints up at you, takes a swing, you pop it a good one, and everybody just pauses for a second to reassess the situation.
Was that the frog tongue? Hold on, we all have some questions here. Wait.
I like to look at it as like two ancient armies, and then like the one guy from each army would like step forward, and like have a duel, and it was like that. It was like, Mama Quiff and Big Book Volume 1.
Yes, I love it. So next up, it's Quiff's turn.
Oh, love it. Okay.
Yeah. So what are we gonna do?
I give my little frog toad a tiny pat on the head of appreciation, and I step forward and I say, "You will not come swinging at me and my boys like that. I don't think so." And I take a deep breath in and lean back while plugging one of my nostrils, and I cast Web, which is described as snot sneeze. So thematically on point. You know?
This game is so weird. I love it.
So, let's see how that one works, since it's my first official use of it. So, yeah, whether this is is opening a portal to the plane of slime or challenging the sprites of sickness, all can agree that it is quite disgusting. That is how the spell is described.
Fantastic.
I blow forth a web from my nose, and all in a cone extending 12 meters, which is about 39 feet. In front of me are trapped if they fail to succeed on testing their luck or skill for enemies. So it would be a skill for your book.
Okay, so I have to test skill.
Mm-hmm. As well as anyone else, if they're all standing like close to each other and they're within that 39 or 38 feet.
It is 38
12
feet?
meters. 12 meters, which is 39
Holy
feet. Yes.
Smokes.
So it's a cone. It's a cone of snot.
You're
Not
technically going to
39
get all
feet.
3 of them.
End of round 2.
Saucy
You ain't
wench.
coming to my boys. Don't coming at us. I don't
Okay,
think so.
so-
Not in this house.
I'm testing skill. Is it a roll versus?
So you are doing you must test your luck. So I'm supposed to be the one that has my test the luck thing.
I know what I'm doing. Enemies don't have luck, so in place of luck, they test skill.
Skill.
So I did it for 1. I did it for a second. Okay, so the one right in front of you and another one both have been affected by this completely. Like, one of them passed its test. So
Cool. And just so you know, each turn, anything that passes through or out of the web must repeat the test or become stuck, and it dries up after 12 rounds. So
they're just
12
stuck
rounds.
in my snot. Yeah.
in your snot. Beautiful
And then
mental
I
picture.
turn to old Viger next to me, and I give him a bit of like a little jab, and I go, "Bet you didn't see that one coming," with a bit of a wink.
Neither did they. And I pat
I
you on the
take-
back enthusiastically.
I take my socks off and put them in my teeth.
Promptly. So next up is the books. The one that is not stuck is going to try to charge straight at Nimbus. And so first it's going to have to test to see if it gets stuck. It's now stuck as well. So
Ain't so slick now, huh?
it is Vigor's turn.
So I see this book charge my friend Nimbus.
It
And-
doesn't.
and I-
It doesn't.
It's stuck.
It literally
it's stuck in
gets
the
like
spot.
a step and then is stuck. Like it's just, yep, that's what's happening now.
There's a bunch of stuck books. Is basically.
Yeah, there's 3 stuck books.
Well, so I have this in my head. So it was like a sandy pit,
hmm
and then there were 3 of us, 3 of the books, and then she shot this huge cone of snot that's like strong spider webbing
Yes.
almost, and it stuck these. Is there like what does it look like? Can I like follow the edge of her snot cone?
Or you can see
Like,
it. It's not.
walk-
You can 100% see it.
right. But can I walk over, and would a book be within reach that I could like smash it with my hammer? Just give it a good old whomp.
Yeah, why not?
Because
Why not?
it brandished its pages at me menacingly before, and I found that very insulting.
Let's
So,
rule of cool it. Sure.
All right, cool. So I rushed over there,
Mhm.
stopping before the snot line. I lean back, and almost like one of those games at the fair, I smash my hammer down, trying to ring the bell.
Okay.
And
Sweet. So you're gonna roll versus. What's the on this spell, Carly? What's the effect again? It's web, right?
So the effect is, it's a web, basically a web of snot, and it's a cone going out 12 feet. So there's an area closest to us that is more narrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It lasts for 12 rounds, and every time anything passes through or out of the web, it must repeat the test for
Okay,
skill
so
for
it
enemies
doesn't
or
say
for
that they
luck for
can't
us.
test. Cool.
Nope.
So we're going to roll versus. All right, I got a 14.
I got a 17. Skill plus mall fighting plus
Yeah,
8.
yeah, you womp me. Roll 1d6 for me, please.
6.
You deal
So
13
my
damage.
Yeah.
You went for the one that was like at the edge that kind of acted like it was going after Nimbus, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teach it a lesson.
So that book, you womp it, and it's not moving anymore. It has been womped sufficiently. You could theoretically pick it up and put it in its respective case if you wanted to. If you had any more things you could do on your turn.
You only get the one.
Yeah, you get to do that thing. Next up is Nimbus.
Nice. Okay, so I want to run and jump towards the two other books.
Okay.
I do have a question real quick.
Yeah.
So I've got wrestling and I have fist fighting.
Yes.
And their rankless skill, both of those equal total of 7. But then unarmed combat is a thing, right? So if I did fist fighting, how does that add together? Or does it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be the same thing as if you had a sword fighting skill.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
a sword, but yeah.
So if you're doing fist fighting, you'd be doing damage as unarmed.
Uh-huh.
There is a completely different thing for wrestling, though. And I'd have to look that up, so can we not
Grappling.
at the moment?
Sure.
Well, there's also, grappling is also on the cheat sheet thing that DB did send out. It's under actions, if anybody wants a quick access thing. Which, as an aside, I'm sure viewers out there who are listening or seeing this, I'm sure at some point you will see us end up posting this. We have had a lovely contribution from DB over here who's made a little bit of a cheat sheet. So if anyone else out there is playing Troika and just wants kind of like a one-page guide on like some of the basic stuff you can do, so it's easy to kind of like reference instead of having to flip-flop through the book. Keep your eyes out. We'll probably get that out at some point.
All right, grapple is just a roll versus your opponent's wrestling skill, so we're good. Okay. Nimbus, what do you want to do? You're going to jump.
So I'm going to just
at the two of them.
I'm just going to try to drop an elbow on one of them.
Okay. So are you using grapple or are you using fist fighting?
Wrestling. So grapple.
Okay. So basically you're going to try to knock them to the ground or deal damage as unarmed and knock you both to the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's roll versus. This book does not have a wrestling skill. I'll just tell you that up front. And I got a 15.
14.
You got a 14. I got a 15. Ha! Ha ha! Getting whomped by a book. If you fail to grapple them, they may deal damage to you as though they had attacked you normally. So
I'm going to say the box started to slide out from my shirt that I had tucked under my shirt this whole time. And I completely changed track and went to save the box.
Okay.
And then just wiped out in her snot.
It does 6 damage to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a strong book.
Yeah. Actually, wait.
It whomped.
Wait, no. Sorry, 3 damage. I was reading from the Modest Beast and not the Small Beast table.
Okay.
So take 3 damage.
What's the death rate of this class? Just curious.
Pretty good.
Like all of the classes in Drink.
Like every single class here, you have the ability to die in it. That's why it's fun to go to the Versity. It adds the zest of life. So next up is the the turn of the tomes, and since you're right there, the one that you dealt damage to, or that just dealt damage to you, you're kind of wrapped up with it. The other one is right next to it, so it's going to try to hit you.
Okay.
So we're going to do a roll versus again. So 2d6. Oh, yeah. I might need to switch dice. These are loaded.
It's all right. I just rolled 12 with the die.
I did too. So I got a 16
Did you really?
total.
So I've got 12. And what is it? Just plus skill?
Skill plus.
Wait, you rolled 2 6s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We both did.
Okay,
Both
so
of
that's
them.
a might.
We
Yeah,
both
so,
did
so
it.
you each did a mighty blow.
Yeah.
So if both of you deliver a mighty blow, I think you both deal damage to each other, and you get +1 to that damage.
Rolling two
if
sixes,
both-
mighty blow, 2 times damage, and you
Mhm.
render the opponent unconscious for 1d6 rounds.
But if both contested perform a mighty blow, shatter each weapon, claws, beaks, etc. will take 1d6 stamina because you can't shatter a natural weapon.
Okay.
Yeah. So the book's weapon has been shattered.
Okay.
And
I
I
took
think,
2 more stamina damage.
yeah, and you would also damage the book. So I think we both roll damage again. I don't know.
Okay. Just like strength? Fist
Roll
fighting? What do we do?
1d6
Okay.
and tell me what you got.
3.
All right, so we both deal 1 damage. Nope, sorry, I deal 2. You deal 1.
So you deal 2 in addition.
So you took a total of 4 damage from this most recent thing,
Okay.
and it took a total of 1 damage, but its weapon is also destroyed.
See, I wasted a lot of time thinking about this Throat thing, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm going to die in the tomes, in the Thunderdome.
So
my
it
book.
is Quiff's turn.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think that books have lungs, so I'm assuming that I cannot drown them.
Yeah, I would just go ahead and give that one a pass.
It's unfortunate.
Mhm.
I mean,
What?
you can
Hey,
waterlog a
that's
book.
paper.
You're telling me you can't
Yeah.
drown it?
I am telling you that.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine. Okay, well, I have my ladle equipped at the top of my inventory.
It deals
So I
damage as
suppose-
a mace.
I know it does. I'm really excited about it. It's a large, worn wooden ladle.
How? What?
Covered in mud. But quick question.
Yeah.
Did you say that there was still one book that was like subdued in the
So,
slime?
One book, the 2 that are currently kind of tangled up with Nimbus are both still tangled up. All 3 of them are technically. Nimbus, go ahead and give me a test your luck to see if you're stuck
Oh yeah.
in the snot.
What is it? 2d6, and you can't go over your luck?
Yep.
Okay. Oh. I'm at the same. I'm the same as my luck.
You can if
No,
equal
it's
then
at
you,
or
then you
under.
succeed.
Yeah, you succeeded.
Yeah.
But still subtract 1 from your luck because you tested your luck. So you're not trapped, and the 2 books are trapped. The 3rd book is rendered inert as a result of a very chaotic maul.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and since I got 2 books beaten down on my buddies over here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and take my ladle, doing my best to not get stuck in this web as I meander my way over. I want to try to whop one of them with my mud-covered ladle.
Cool.
Not
So
my boy!
are you skirting the side like Vigor did?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
skirting
so
the
go
side
ahead and
to
let's
not
do a
get
roll
stuck.
versus.
Okay.
Can you get stuck in your own snot?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure. It doesn't say I don't,
can.
so I assume so.
I got a 13.
All right, what am I adding to this?
You're going to add your skill plus any applicable advanced skills. So the 2 dice plus your skill total.
Just for hitting with a mace, since I don't have like a direct attack
Then
thing.
it's just your skill.
It's just my skill total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then I got a 10.
Total?
Yeah, I rolled a 5, plus I have 5 in skill.
All right. You're going to take 5 damage.
Ugh. Shouldn't have tried
Books
to
are
wild.
gnarly.
Yeah, these books are vicious.
Yeah.
It is Nimbus's turn.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm kind of like wrapped around one, right?
Yeah, so you're wrapped up with actually technically 2 of them now. One of them is a little bit not quite entangled with you, but one of them is like you're wrapped up with it.
Which one did I just break the weapon of?
The one that Quiff already did damage to.
Okay. So can I want to like do like a strength test. Can I grab it and throw it at Vigor? Is it Vigor? Is that right?
It is Vigor.
Okay. Checking pronunciations.
Yes. Give me a grapple check, and if you succeed, I will let you chuck it at Vigor.
Okay. Which is 1d6 against yours, or what? 2d6. 6 and 2.
8
8
plus your skill plus your grapple.
I don't have grapple. I have wrestling.
Wrestling, yeah.
Okay. So that's 8, 15.
All right, I got 12, so you succeed. You rip this book out of the snot, and you take this snot-covered book, and you chuck it at Vigor.
You got to say it.
Take that book away from me.
I throw the book at Vigor.
It is
To
now.
Vigor.
It is now the book's turn.
Plan.
So we're gonna go ahead and say that book, as much as I would love to be the dude that's like, all right, this book now flying midair decides to attack Vigor, I don't think a book would have the presence of mind to do that. So the other book is going to attack you, Nimbus, because you just chucked its buddy at the Chaos Champion. So we're going to roll versus again. So roll your 2d6. Add your...
6. Wow.
So 11.
Yeah.
Plus skill, plus whatever fighting skill, like if you have fighting.
Yeah, I'll just use fist fighting, so that's 18.
Perfect. Yeah, you whomp this book, so roll damage as unarmed, so roll 1d6.
5. Which
You
is...
do 2 damage. That means it is the end of the round. And quick shuffle. So, just to paint a picture of what's currently happening, we've got one book that has been sufficiently beaten by our resident Chaos Champion. We have one book that is flying through the air, covered in snot, thrown by Nimbus, in the direction of Vigor. And we have another book that is currently trying to whomp Nimbus, while they're both, playing in the snot.
Yes, covered in the mucus. What would you call it? The ejected mucus?
Right.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So that is Vigor's turn.
Sweet.
So Vigor, you have a book flying at your face.
Hey, bada.
When you've got a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So I cock this thing back, really lean into it, and as it gets close, I want to knock it in the direction of, I want to position myself so when I hit it, I want it to like tumble forward towards the case that it's supposed to be
Nice.
I'm kind of playing a game,
Nice.
in my head.
Yeah.
Like maybe I can do a hole in one here.
I'll tell you.
That's really what I'm going for.
I'll tell you what. If you roll double sixes, you're going to get that hole in one here. So,
Okay.
let's go ahead and do a roll versus. I got a 13.
I got a 9 plus 9, 18.
Yeah. So you got close, but you didn't quite get it.
And on the damage roll, I got a 5, so that's 12 damage.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. That book is completely done. It does plop near the case. It's not in the case, though, unfortunately. I mean, it was graceful, but...
I tisk to myself and kind of like kick the dirt and like,
I know.
in my shoe. I'm a little disappointed in myself. It's a real shame. I should have came to class more, I suppose. Well, and I clap my hands together and I rub them and I look at the last book. Coming for you, Betty. And I hoist my big hammer up.
Fantastic. It is Nimbus's turn.
Sweet. I'm going to try to get out of the way because I'm curled around the book that he's coming out with the hammer.
Okay, I need you to test your luck to see if you're going to get caught in the snot. Caught in the snot.
Not the snot.
6. I'm good.
Okay, you did not get caught in the snot, and you get to scamper away. I assumed you wanted to scamper. I don't want to tell you how you move, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm picturing that in this situation, it's like one of the goblins in Moria, like the kind of crouch, like just getting out of there.
I
Absolutely.
also assume you're tiptoeing in your best effort to not get any slime on your feet for when you return those socks to their proper location.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Priorities,
Fantastic. Vigor, it's you again.
Oh, there's only one thing for me to do. That's to smash this last book and get out of this school. So, as I cock back, I got a 7 plus 9 for 16. Move out the way.
A 15. So
Ooh, yeah.
roll that d6.
4, so 6 damage.
Well, for once, you didn't actually kill something.
Can we say it's the third volume? Because I say I've always had a problem finishing series. As I cock back my hammer.
No, this is the
It's another-
second volume. I mean, it's still applicable, but maybe you think it's the third volume. But yeah, this is the second volume. I don't know why I'm picking up my dice. I need to figure out who's going next. That would be Nimbus again.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he's like heard it.
He has very much heard it. I mean, full disclosure, I probably gave these things too much health. I don't really know how combat works.
They're giant books. That's
they're
okay.
giant books,
I can
though.
forgive
They're
that.
war
And
on
also,
this,
have you ever actually tried to destroy a book? Like, it's not that easy.
I'd also like to say that at first I was a bit concerned that what we had to accomplish to be able to go traveling around the universe like some crazy people, have some real adventures, was just binding some books. And now I'm like, never mind, this is a valid test. This is a valid test. We could die.
Yeah. So, Nimbus, what are we up to?
I think I'm gonna jump and like flatten out, and then try to like bring both hands down on top of this book,
Okay.
like in a double fist.
Real monkey pound kind of deal. Appreciate that.
Really turn the page on this fight. I don't know. I'm trying here.
You're going to cover it?
Oh,
yeah, I got it covered. That's a
there
good
you go.
one.
Got it covered.
I'll take it.
Oh, God. All right, roll versus. Oh, I rolled horribly.
Beautiful.
You
I got a
mean
12.
well. Oh, you do mean horribly. I got an 11.
Wait, really?
Hmm. Well, wait. Roll versus is just the 2 die, or do I add more
Skill
stuff to it?
and your fight.
Oh my gosh. I got 18.
18. Yeah, you
18, yeah.
you
Much
do
better.
a very good job. Would you like to roll your
Yes.
damage?
Yes.
1d6.
Is it 1d6,
Yes.
and that's just the unarmed damage.
Yes, indeed.
So the advanced skills and spells, that's just for the versus roll.
Yes.
Okay. See, this is already getting clear to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I rolled a 2.
Practice makes perfect. 2.
You deal 1 damage.
Yeah.
Which thankfully is enough to render it comatose. So
Nice.
congratulations. You guys
I began
beat
loudly
up
clapping.
some books.
That's my boy. That's him. I look over at the listeners. Come on, give him a round of applause. Look at him go.
All
Can I
of
crouch
them?
over and immediately start ripping the pages out of it? Just like,
Oh, wow.
or no?
I'm starting to clap, and as I realize what you're doing, I yell out, "No, honey, no, not that."
I
In the
immediately
box."
stop. And then
In
like
the
start
box.
stuffing them back in just in handfuls.
All of the listeners are doing that, like pinching the bridge of their nose and just shaking their heads like, I don't know what we expected. I don't. But yeah, you managed to place the correct volumes in the correct boxes. There is a satisfying click as you close the cover to the boxes. These books have been bound.
Beautiful.
And we're
Nice.
very, very proud of you. So
Arm over each one of you guys, and I kiss you on the head. Mwah! Ah, yeah, I
I'm
love
very
you.
very carefully tasting the snot.
Yeah, I'm making sure to like rub the last of it off my face. I'm already smelling enough. Trying to make myself a little more presentable.
absolutely. You hear the proctor's voice as it echoes across the like auditorium arena-y thing. That was an interesting take on a bookbinding final exam. So you've completed the first part. If you'd like to go wait in the atrium, we are going to get set up for part 2. And so just we'll send somebody out to come get you when we're ready for part 2. But do be aware that you are about to experience Slinben Van's sleuth-tastic sneakorium. And so we'll see you in a little while. And they usher you out the front doors to the atrium, and that is where we're going to call it for right now.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
So I'm going to leave
Can
the
I
three
buy
of
a
you.
vowel on what you just said?
Slinbenvin's sleuth-tastic sneakorium.
Okay. Text it to me.
Drop it in the chat.
I can drop it in the
let's-
chat. So that's our first episode wrapped at this point.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy
That was
about
fun.
it. Yeah,
I've never beat up a book before. Like, not in that way.
right.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
I also feel like only in a game like Troika can I incapacitate 3 giant person-sized books with a 12-foot cone of snot, or a 12-meter cone of snot. That is ridiculous. It's way too much snot.
That went really well.
I love that.
I mean, it cost me
Danny was
some
like,
stamina, don't get
yeah.
me wrong, but it's worth it.
It's true, but it's tough to shoot those snots. But I like that Danny's like, "Do you have any combat skills?" And you're like, "No," and then you're like, "Nah, the conventional sense."
Yeah.
It totally changed the fight. It was really great.
It 100% changed how the fight went.
Very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. All right, let's do our sign off. So we need to talk about what's been inspiring us creatively this week. Tip the hat to some other creators. Let everybody know what we're interested in. DB, you want to kick us off?
Oh my god, I'm so not prepared for this.
Yeah. Let me find. So I'm gonna butcher this name because he's a Scottish folk singer. His name is Hamish Imlach,
Hamish.
but
Hamish.
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 I don't know, but
Or Amish.
he's got this album called Cod Liver Oil and Orange Juice, and it is really good. So I like the Dubliners, and I like Scottish and Irish folk music. I think it's really great, and I feel like he does like storytelling, but then because he's foreign, it's like I'm an American and he's foreign. Sometimes I can't understand his accent, and so the music itself, like when he sings, his vocals are like instruments, and so he has a very unique way of singing anyway. But I like the instrumentation that I get there, and then he obviously tells like really great stories. And he's like a funny entertainer. Like he's like, oh, I'm a big fan of the topical songs, so I'm gonna sing this one that was popular about 14 years ago. And it's this song about how the Queen graciously pardoned somebody, but he must have been really chuffed at the knickers because they hung him like 12 years ago. So he like just got a pardon, but he's already dead. And then he goes on to tell a story about how this guy was like falsely accused of a murder, and then they killed him, and like the whole song is about these people like damned him and said he was horrible, and then later he was actually innocent of all that stuff. So it was actually all these people falsely condemning him without proof. But he has a bunch of like interesting stories, and then I feel like it gives you a little insight into like Scottish culture with some of the stuff. Like he keeps talking about these characters like Harry Mary and stuff. And I don't know, it's really interesting, but it's been very inspiring. He's got another story about two crows that are looking down on a knight, and the knight's recently been killed, and they're like talking to each other about maybe how he died and how long it'll be until his like armor rusts away and they get at him and all this stuff. He's a cool storyteller. I don't know, I like it.
Very different takes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Nice.
It's fantastic. Jacob, what are you into?
Gosh, don't do me next.
I can go next.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right.
Go for it.
Okay, so one, I feel like everyone, at least at this play table, is aware of it because I kind of won't shut up about it. But thank you to our game master, Danny, for purchasing me Fungi of the Far Realms. It is a fantastic inspiration piece if you if you are into mycology, if your character is swampy, like a befouler of ponds. I feel like I got a lot of good inspiration from this. It's compatible with Troika, even in the role system. And as you can see, I've already marked a bunch of really fantastic fungi that I might want to use as some inspiration in the game. So I feel like I've been toying through this. Not only is it just really interesting, it's got some amazing, beautiful art. Highly recommend checking it out. I believe it's also available at Melsonian Arts Council and Exalted
Yeah, I was
Funeral.
going to say, isn't that another Melsonian book?
It is. It is technically written by Clemens and Zhang.
Okay.
So specific author credit. But yes, Fungi of the Far Realms, highly recommend.
I need to pick up a copy of that for myself.
Super awesome. Yeah, I'm sure I will be sending you lots from it, so don't worry, Danny. And then second, I would like to plug, just TV-wise, I know we're all in quarantine right now. Obviously, it's the Great Pandemic Part 2 this year, so here in America. So I have been marathoning on Netflix The Sinner, and I know I was talking about earlier kind of just in some pre-game discussions about character concepts and just thoughts on like our initial thoughts on our first roles. And I feel like obviously there are some character tropes in here in Troika that can be a bit challenging. They subvert like the standard expectation of just being kind of like a typical like straight shooter kind of good person. I feel like Chaos Champion's a great example. What could the appeal of something like Chaos Champion be? So I've been watching The Sinner, and I feel like it has been some really interesting, it's on Netflix. There are 3 seasons, specifically the 3rd season. Phenomenal. And I feel like fantastic inspiration for just like what is embracing chaos like what could motivation for that be, and plays with it in a really interesting way. But I feel like in general, the show is all about kind of getting some insight into somebody who maybe would just be taken as the main criminal in a case, and learning more about their motivations and mindset. And so I feel like it's just it was really great inspiration for character building, for me. I feel like, in just trying to play with different tropes and subvert expectations. So highly recommend that if you're looking for something a little less work heavy. that you can just kind of sit back and chill with, you know. But.
Heck yeah. Jacob, you ready?
Yeah, I've got one.
That's cool.
It's Micah Ulrich, I believe is how you say his name. Did you hook me up with him, Danny? Or did you
Quite
send me something
possibly
of his?
sent you a post. So, like, full disclosure to everybody listening, 90% of our communication is just sending each other, like, art posts on Instagram or Reddit or wherever
This
we
is
are.
true.
So, like, I don't know where it originated. It might have been something that, like, DB showed Carly, who showed me that it got to you. Like, who knows how information disseminates amongst us?
Yeah, a lot of times you send me something and then it's like, oh, if you like him, you should like, and it's like a long line of, and I just start clicking because it all looks awesome. Anyway, Micah Ulrich, that's MICAH_L or ULRICH. And he's an artist on Instagram, and he's just got some, I love like the old folk type stuff, like the Grimm's fairy tales. I grew up on that. I love that kind of stuff. And his art just looks like something you would find painted in the basement of a place that you really shouldn't be from a really long time ago.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's got that like super folk myth. It's very dark. I will forewarn you. It's very dark, but it's gorgeous. Very, very fine line work, which I'm into. Anyway, yeah, that's something that's been inspiring me a lot. I've been scrolling through his posts for a few days now.
Heck yeah, that's fantastic.
What about you, Danny?
Okay, so mine is kind of a two-parter. I backed a project. When this episode goes out, you might still have a few days to back this on Kickstarter. It's called Coyote and Crow on Kickstarter. It's a tabletop RPG. It is developed primarily by a team of indigenous peoples to the continent of North America. It is basically like it's a science fiction what if colonization never happened in the future. Looks super beautiful. I'm very excited about it. It's last I checked, it was over 1,800% funded. Like they had over 300,000. They originally wanted like $18,000. So this thing is blowing up, and I'm really excited about it. I actually want, when I get the copy of this game, I want to be playing this on Sonderlings eventually. It's gorgeous looking. But so that absolutely, I was reading through their frequently asked questions on Kickstarter, and one of them was, what music is like the soundtrack to this game? And they said A Tribe Called Red, which is hallucination. It's like this crazy indigenous musical movement that's happening right now. It's a group and a movement, as far as I understand it. They've had a bunch of people that have contributed to it, and it's musically gorgeous. So you should just go listen to that and play tabletop games, and obviously while socially distancing, because right now we're in the middle of the plague. But, I mean, we're doing this online. None of us are, by anybody else, and so
we're across the country from each other. Different time zones and everything.
It's midnight where I am, which means it's 9:00 for some of these people. So that's it. I know we rambled on about creative stuff, but that is our intent at the end of every episode. This is something we're going to make a habit of, trying to just showcase what's sparking our passion. What's making us super excited to create and to play and to continue to do the work that we're doing. If you are still listening at this point, may all of the blessings of all of the gods, both old and new, be upon you.
And Toad.
And the Toad. May the moist Toad visit you this evening.
No God, no brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
No test.
Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for us tonight. We're going to sign off. Hopefully we'll be recording another episode soon, and you're going to get to hear it. We're going to try to have a regular upload schedule. There will probably be a bumper at the beginning of an episode soon, kind of explaining what's happening with that. But for all of us here at Sonderlings, thank you for coming by, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. And you're all beautiful. Love you all.
Be safe.
Peace.
Thanks again.
Yay.
Thanks, guys.
Later, nerds.